Hello and welcome to Elite Weather. My name is Mr. G. I'm your meteorologist today, and this is a rebroadcast because apparently I did a video just a second live and the sound was messed up. So we are going to redo it. So I apologize if you watched that and you couldn't understand the sound. But we are going to be back again. We are on Facebook and we are on YouTube, and we're going to give that another shot here with our weather forecast for this upcoming Friday and Saturday. And we're going to take a look at just a peek at the extended forecast for the through this Thursday, through this upcoming Thursday. We are going to take a look at some of the long range patterns that we're going to be experiencing, as well as talk about the hurricane that we just experienced in Florida. Hurricane Ian is still out there, but it's no longer a Category 4 hurricane, but it is barely a Category 1 at 80 miles per hour. So it's trying to hang on as a Category 1 storm. We saw a lot of extensive damage across the state of Florida, especially down near Sanibel Island, Fort Myers, down to Naples, up to Tampa, and even across to Orlando. We saw a whole lot of damage, a lot of flooding, water everywhere. I didn't see a whole lot in the way of wind damage other than the immediate coastline, but we did see a very high storm surge. We saw waters up to 15 feet of storm surge, but we saw Tampa Bay get completely drained. The hurricane completely sucked all the water out of the bay in Tampa. So to me, that was the most striking thing, is how on one end of the storm to south of the eye, we saw that wall of water just rise up. Like I said in other videos, it doesn't come in like waves. It rises like water rises in a bathtub. It's a lot like that. And it's like, where did this water come from? And the next thing you know, it's up to your neck. So you have to be really careful with storm surge. I saw water all through people's homes if they didn't evacuate, even hotels. The whole lobby is just a river. The furniture in the hotel is floating on the ground floor. So a lot of devastation. Going to take a long time for Florida to recover from Hurricane Ian. There was one point that all of Sarasota and Sanibel Island was underwater, and Fort Myers were underwater. They was just like a huge lake. You didn't know where the Gulf of Mexico ended and Florida began. It was so much water inundating the area. So let's take a look at our forecast and jump into our weather today. And here is the current conditions with our weather today. Here is our radar right now, and you are seeing the moisture from the hurricane down across the southeast here. We are seeing it down here across South Carolina and Georgia, as well as eastern Florida here. There is a hurricane there, Category 1 storm. You see all that heavy rain from those heavy rain bands. And then we have a lot of cooler air across the Great Lakes, upper Mississippi Valley. So it's making for a showery situation across the Northeast, the Great Lakes, and the Midwest as well. So it's a lot of gray, low-hanging clouds, stratus clouds, cumulostratus clouds, and it's making for showery weather conditions. And then we have a very large area of low pressure across the northern Rockies, and that's spreading some scattered showers and thunderstorms from Nebraska here through the high plains of Wyoming and into Montana. We're seeing that heavy rainfall, and some of this is even our monsoonal moisture coming up out of Mexico and through the Four Corners. So we're seeing some monsoon moisture as well. And here we are as we take a look at the satellite, and you see the outline of that big area of low pressure across the northern Rockies. Here's our hurricane here. Not really looking much like a hurricane right now. It really kind of looks like an extratropical or mid-latitude storm more than a hurricane. But you see the eye is right there, very deformed, very large eye because it's a weak hurricane, and a lot of this moisture and energy is going across the north from the southeast to the northeast. So we're seeing a lot of that energy across the northern sections here. So that means that we're going to be dealing with storm surge again across South Carolina, especially Myrtle Beach here. We're going to be dealing with that, and we're going to be seeing, we won't see as much in the way of storm surge issues across the Georgia coast because the eye is going to go onshore right about here. This little notch right there is where our eye is going to go onshore. So a lot of the wind is going to be coming offshore across Georgia. So a lot of your flooding is going to take place right in here to the right of the eye. But you will see flooding caused by heavy rainfall. Here's our current temperatures. Our warm spots has been across the nation's midsection through the plains all the way down to the state of Texas and the Gulf Coast. We're seeing those 80s across southern Texas and North Texas here through Laredo, Texas. Not Laredo, but Amarillo, and Lubbock, Texas. We're seeing mid 80s, 79 in Dallas, Fort Worth. But we're seeing cooler weather across the southeast right now. Temperatures in the upper 60s. We got those 50s and 40s in the northeast. I even heard about some snow in upstate New York and through Maine. So we did see some snow that didn't stick through portions of upstate New York, but very cool fall-like conditions, temperatures in the 40s and even 50 here across Buffalo. So we're seeing cooler weather, 55 there in Cleveland. We have 56 in Detroit, and we're seeing 57 in Sault Ste. Marie, 57 in Duluth, 66 in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, 70 at Fargo, Minot 75, but we're seeing 71 in Omaha, 67 in Des Moines, Kansas City, you're at 69 degrees, 65 in St. Louis, 70 in Little Rock, 68 in Memphis, also 68 in Nashville. Charlotte is 62, and we are seeing 77 in Albuquerque and 70 in Flagstaff, 97 in Phoenix, which is a hot spot in the nation, 95 in Vegas, 81 in LA, 70 in San Diego, San Francisco is 67, and 87 warm degrees in Sacramento. Let's not forget some of the Pacific Northwest, 67 in Portland, 68 in Seattle. But we're seeing those cool fall temperatures across the portions of northern Idaho, and we're seeing it being cooler across the Cascade Mountain ranges as well. So we're seeing a little bit of warmth through portions of the Rockies here, but we're dealing with some monsoon moisture and warm air advection from that very large area of low pressure moving across the northern Rockies. Here we are as we take a look at the 7-day upper air pattern. This is the 500 millibar height and cyclonic vorticity in the atmosphere for the next 7 days, and it'll kind of give you a baseline of what the weather is going to look like in America for this upcoming week as we move into the next 7-day period. And here we are. This is where our hurricane is going to be across South Carolina for tomorrow. So we got Hurricane Ian that's going to make landfall about late afternoon. And then we have this very large area of low pressure here, this upper level low pressure center right here. This is going to be spreading some snow showers through portions of Wyoming, and we're going to cover that more detail in a little bit here. So here is that upper air that's going to be bringing some snow and some thunderstorms through the four corners. We have our monsoonal fetch, and because of this a large area of low pressure. It's responsible for warm air advection, so it's pulling up warm air from the south. So through the plains, we're seeing those temperatures in the 80s for your afternoon tomorrow. So we're going to be seeing those temperatures in the 80s, maybe a 90 or two down here in Texas and maybe Oklahoma tomorrow as well. Hang on a second. That cool weather is going to continue. I'm hitting buttons here. I am growing nuts hitting buttons. We hitting buttons. So here's that northwesterly flow. So it's going to be keep that cool air in that pattern in place across the Great Lakes in the Northeast tomorrow. Here we are as we look at it for Saturday. Again, this very large area of low pressure, but it's not particularly strong. We're not seeing any severe weather with this, but we will see enough cold air for some higher elevation snow. So we're going to be seeing a rain and snow mix across Wyoming, Idaho, and southern Montana and into Utah, as well as central Colorado. It's going to be enough cold air in place that we can see a little bit of snow. And we're going to continue with the effects of our post-tropical storm Ian here. So it's going to continue with some heavy rain across this region. And so we're going to get that southerly flow again through the Midwest. Going to be a warm weekend across the Midwest this weekend. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, Missouri, all the way down to the Gulf Coast, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, and North Dakota is going to be seeing some warmer weather. But we'll start to see thunderstorms move into the western sections of the Dakotas as our big area of low pressure makes its way slowly to the east. It's not going to be in any big hurry to move to the east, this big area of low pressure. Our tropical system is going to meander around the southeast and the mid-Atlantic for a few days before it gets caught up in this system and changes coming from the west. And it's going to eventually pick this up and carry it out to sea. But in the meantime, it's going to dump a lot of rain across this region over the weekend. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're going to be seeing inches of rain through the mid-Atlantic and the southeast and through portions of the Appalachian Mountain Range as well. Here's what we're going to be seeing for Monday. Our remnant of the tropical storm or Hurricane Ian is now going to be affecting Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, and Ohio. So we're going to be seeing some rain and thunderstorms in that region. And it's going to start to take on mid-latitude characteristics. It's going to lose its tropical characteristics altogether. We're going to continue to see heavy rain, but we're also going to be seeing some rain along the southeast coast and the mid-Atlantic because it's going to be pulling up some moisture down off of the tropics here where we're going to be dealing with some heavy rain along the southeast. And look at our elongated pattern here. We have a trough here in the Rockies and the high plains. We have troughing here. It's not a deep trough, but it's kind of cut off from the main flow. So we have a northern latitude cutoff flow. You see our main pattern here, that zonal fast east to west, but down here we see where the jet stream slows down here. So we got this sagging area of low pressure, this troughing right here, and that is going to bring that colder air down out of Canada. You see how this drops down, and that's going to be helping to produce some of that snow across the Rockies over the weekend. And here we are with Tuesday. That fast east to west zonal pattern continues over in Canada. Our cutoff low is going to continue to move across the plains now on Tuesday. This is October the 4th. And there it is. There is going to spread thunderstorms and some rain showers through Nebraska, northern and South Dakota, and portions of Minnesota as well. So we're going to be seeing that energy, a reinforcing shot of cooler air, but it's going to be warm across southeastern Minnesota and Wisconsin. That warm air advection is going to move into this region. So we're going to see Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, Missouri, and Iowa warm up a little bit into the 70s, and maybe some 80s might slip in there on Tuesday. But we're going to start to cool down in Minnesota as we have that upper level low pressure center, and we have a ridge that's going to start to build in out west, and that's going to cause some of our monsoonal moisture to wane as well and push back to the east, because we have that building ridge that's going to move in from the west. Now let's move a little bit ahead. Now we have that tropical, our remnant tropical system is right here across the mid-Atlantic states and into portions of the northeast. So that's going to be our former tropical storm Ian here. Here is that upper level storm system. As you can see, this is not a closed low, so it's not going to be that deep. It's not going to have a lot of moisture to work with. It is going to drop to the southeast, and it's going to edge of high pressure, a little bit of a ridge built in on Wednesday. That's going to move to the east. This is called a transient ridge because it's not really blocking this guy. It's not stopping this guy from moving forward. In fact, the high pressure, you have a nice troughing over Canada that's shoving this guy to the southeast. So this troughing over Canada right here, this strong trough is going to shove this guy to the south and east, and it's going to push what's left of Ian out into the Atlantic. And there's our ridge building in. You see that ridging starting to build in. You got a high amplitude ridge building in across the west. That's that La Nina pattern. If this was winter, we would be talking about Alberta clippers. So this would be an Alberta clipper if this was the winter months. And here we are for Thursday now. This is the last day we're going to look at. Here we have a nice trough in the east and our ridging out west. So we got a northwesterly flow coming into the southeast. So we're going to see cooler temperatures even down into East Texas, Louisiana to the Gulf Coast. We're going to have a boundary down here across the southeast. So that's going to be showers and some thunderstorms along the Gulf Coast. And we're going to see some showers, maybe even some snow showers. This is probably going to set the stage for our snow event that we're going to talk about in the future here in this forecast. We're going to look at the Snowfall Forecast through October 15th, and there's a couple things I want to show you. But we have this trough here on the East Coast, so we're going to see that those temperatures dive further south into the 40s and 50s. Here we are as we take a look at the rainfall estimates through the 15th of October. So this is valid from now through the 15th of October. So this is every instance of rainfall that we're going to see in the U.S. Here is where our tropical storm is. We're seeing at least 6 to 10 inches of rain in this region. There's areas that could pick up at least 9 to 10 inches right in here. So just off the East Coast, 9 to 10 inches. Our 6 to 7 inch rainfall We could match up the colors down here from our guide. So again, look at what's going to be completely dry. The West Coast, Nevada and California, mostly dry. If you see any wetness, they might pick up a monsoon thunderstorm across southeastern California and along the Mexican border. And this is monsoon thunderstorm action right here. And we'll also have that big mid-latitude storm that was right in this region that spread some rain and snow. So that's going to be the rainfall output through October 15th. And here we are with our snowfall through October 15th. So we're going to see snow across the northern Rockies and the central Rockies. But look at this. Portions of New Hampshire and Vermont could see pretty substantial snowfall before October 15th. Look at this. This is at least 10 inches of snow. This is 10 inches, 10 to 14 inches of snow through portions of New Hampshire and Vermont. And then we could also, let's go to the next one. This is what was going to be more interesting. This is Wyoming. This is where Cody and Jackson Hole, Yellowstone. So this is going to be the potential for 10, 11, and 12 inches. So a very small speck there. We could pick up 12 inches of snow, 1.5 inches of snow through Colorado, and even in the Dakotas, we're going to be able to pick up some snow in the next couple of weeks here. So some measurable snow over the next couple of weeks. And here we are as we take a look at our severe weather. And we have some CAPE. We have some weak CAPE that we're going to be dealing with here. We're talking about 300 joule kilograms, 300 to 600 joule kilograms of CAPE in southeastern California. And that's going to be for your day on Friday. Our monsoon moisture potential here. CAPE is the convective available potential energy. This is the amount of energy the atmosphere has or needs for thunderstorms to develop. So we see that here through the Four Corners, that region here in the central Rockies and the southwestern deserts for your Friday. And then on Saturday, we get a little bit more CAPE as it moves to the east. So Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, southeastern Utah, and even through Wyoming, we have elevated potential for some thunderstorms. And then this is all thunderstorms, severe and non-severe. Unfortunately, this is not going to be severe, as this is pretty weak CAPE. It's only a couple hundred joule kilograms. And then we have a little bit here in the north, in the mid-Atlantic states. So not a whole lot to worry about or work with for thunderstorms. This stuff is going to be isolated and widely scattered, if at all. Here's our severe weather outlook. We have our hurricane tomorrow that we're going to be dealing with. So we do have that slight risk of severe weather across North Carolina, which is going to be to the north of our eye in South Carolina right there. So we're going to be dealing with that potential of the rain bands producing some severe weather. And that's going to be also isolated tornadoes can be possible as well with that heavy rain and gusty winds. And then we could see some heavy rain, some flash flooding and gusty winds here through the Rockies as well when we have some thunderstorms possible Friday. And then on Saturday into Sunday, no severe weather expected anywhere. So that's good news as well. We will have some monsoon storms, and we still will deal with some moisture from our tropical storm here in the Northeast and the mid-Atlantic states, but we won't be dealing with any severe weather. Here's our tropical outlook, and here is Hurricane Ian right now. 8 p.m. tonight, we saw it at this location. It's going to make landfall as a hurricane, has 75 mile per hour winds, so it's barely a hurricane right now, barely, minimum hurricane, and it's going to quickly downgrade to a tropical depression once it makes its way onshore. So there we go with that. We got a hurricane warning across the entire South Carolina, and then her tropical storm warning through Cape Hatteras, through North Carolina, and down through Central Florida. From the South Carolina Georgia line, tropical storm warnings for that area tomorrow. Here's to look at our hurricane from the satellite. As you can see, very large eye, is not very held together well. It's kind of struggling because of that cold front that's in the area. As you can see right here, this marks that cold front. So it's interacting with a frontal boundary and it's creating a lot of shear. So it's got a lot of moisture being pulled off of it. So we're going to be seeing a lot of rain right in here tomorrow as our hurricane comes on shore across Myrtle Beach. Here is our forecast for the intensity and level category 1 hurricane, and it's going to quickly decrease tomorrow when it makes landfall, so that within the next 30 hours, it will even drop below tropical storm status. So our days for Ian is numbered. And here we have Orlean, which is a tropical storm, which will intensify to a hurricane overnight on Saturday and make landfall as a hurricane on Monday on the west coast of Mexico. So we're talking it's going to make landfall between Baja and the west coast of Mexico there. And we're going to be dealing with they're going to be dealing with some heavy rain, flash flooding, and wind issues as well. And here is the forecast for Orlean. And some of these outliers are trying to make it say it's going to hit category 3, but I don't think so. Maybe category 2, but definitely category 1, as most of the ensemble members are right in this range. So we're going to see a category 1 hurricane that is going to drop below tropical storm status at about 108 hours from now and dissipate over the Mexican mainland. So there we go with Orlean. All right, here's your weather forecast and your forecast for your Friday for America. We're going to be seeing our tropical storm / hurricane Ian make landfall right about 2 or 3 in the afternoon near Myrtle Beach. We're going to be seeing that severe weather to the northeast across North Carolina and the Chesapeake Bay, where we could be seeing some tornadoes. And we're going to have a warm front in the area as well that's interacting with our hurricane. We also have an old cold front in the region as well. And that is going to dictate the behavior and the movement of the hurricane or / tropical storm, as we're going to be seeing that severe weather to the northeast, dry weather in the northeast, dry weather across the Great Lakes, the Midwest from the southern Mississippi Valley and the Texas coast to the Canadian border, warm weather as well. We're going to be seeing those temperatures in the lower 90s down along the Gulf Coast in Houston to the 80s through the Midwest and upper 70s across the Dakotas and Minnesota and Wisconsin up to the Canadian border. Our large area of low pressure across the northern Rockies will spread some rain and snow mix across Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana, and down across the Wasatch Range of Utah, east of the Salt Lake area, and central Colorado, west of Denver, could see a rain snow mix in the overnight and the early morning hours mainly. That is your Friday forecast. Here is Saturday. Saturday, we're going to be seeing that monsoon moisture across the Four Corners to the northern Rockies up to the Canadian border. Some of that moisture is going to interact with our upper level storm system. So we're going to be seeing those scattered showers and thunderstorms and some snow in the higher elevations of the northern Rockies and the central Rockies. And then on the East Coast, we have the remnants of Ian. You can see it doesn't even say Tropical Storm Ian anymore. It's just the remnants or an area of low pressure that used to be Ian, and that's going to spread some heavy rain through the West Virginia and eastern Kentucky. And we can see some more heavy rain in the Northeast there, New Jersey, the Chesapeake Bay, DC area, all the way up to New York City. So that's going to be an area where a lot of heavy rain, and we're going to have some thunderstorms as well. We're going to be seeing dry weather across New England, the Great Lakes, the Midwest, all the way down to the Gulf Coast and the southern Mississippi Valley, the southern plains, dry weather on the West Coast, beautiful weather on the West Coast, beautiful weather in the Midwest, cool in the Great Lakes, and cool in the Northeast, warm along the Gulf Coast, and Florida as they rebuild and recover from Hurricane Ian. Guys, that's the weather forecast as we did a retake since the first one had some sound issues. It was horrible. I apologize for that. So we redid it, and hopefully the sound is a lot better. Thanks for watching, and have a great weekend. And I will see you guys all on Sunday as we talk about the upcoming work week.